Hello. Welcome back to Have You Seen with Nick and Lance. This week, or I guess this month, was my choice, and I decided to pick not R.O.D the TV, but rather Read or Die the movie.
I totally rotted the TV.
Yeah. So I guess as a comic book, it was Read or Die, and then the sequel series there's Read or Dream. So when you just call it R.O.D the TV, it's consisting of both plot lines, kind of. Hence why it's shortened, I guess. So I picked R.O.D, the movie, Read or Die, which is, I guess, technically an OAV, but it's 3 episodes of about like 20-ish minutes apiece.
Came out to about an hour and a half altogether.
I guess they were closer to 30. So it's a movie. Just with, an intro and an outro song 3 times.
Cut out.
Yeah.
I think I skipped past, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Skip past those.
The intro song is super long.
I don't even remember it. So we've got, busy doing things and being sick and whatnot. So I watched this a month ago.
Oh, nice.
So hopefully it'll be still fresh in my mind, but it's been a little bit since I've watched this one. But I did watch it, and considering like this one's kind of hard to find. I've imagined if you searched for it online, you might be able to find it, but like this collector's box doesn't even have the movie in it. This collector's box was the first disc of the TV series that followed it, and then you need to buy all the other discs, and it's just got pages because it's built like a book, and you're supposed to like fill out the pages in your book. And I put the movie in the last empty slot because otherwise the series was only seven discs, so I stored the movie with the series.
I really like that collector's case.
It's neat.
Yeah, I really do, and that thing's pretty slick.
Yeah, and it's even got a spine on it, like it's a book. I mean, obviously plastic, but it looks neat.
Yeah.
So, I figured, screw it, let's watch an OAV. It's an anime, it's almost a movie. And it's one it's hard to find. I don't know if you've ever heard. Have you even heard of it?
Nope. I think you mentioned it to me like a while ago.
Yeah, this is old, so maybe like 2010 or something like that. So maybe back then I watched. I'm like, hey, you should check this thing out, and it's just kind of like, you file it and then just forget about it because that's easy to do.
I'm ADD as fuck, so.
I mean, it's just easy in general for someone to do that. Like they mentioned the one show they like or something like that, and you're like, I'm gonna remember that, and then you don't remember it because you're doing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but still, I pay attention to a lot of what you say, but it's depending on where I'm at. If I'm sitting in a chair looking at you and we're talking, I'll remember it. If I'm sitting at my computer playing a video game or something like that, yeah, I'm not there. So I've got a very one-track mind. I have to basically focus in on what's going on. Amber and I had a conversation a while ago where she was talking about. I was like, "You have things going on in your head at all times," and she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "You're constantly thinking about things?" She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "How about you?" I was like, "I'm not thinking of a fucking thing. Like, nothing's going through my head. It's just, I can envision pictures, but there's nothing going on. It's just dead fucking air. There's no voice in my head talking, like, ever. It's just there."
I tend to have something going on, like, pretty much all the time. To the point where, like, if I'm listening to someone talk, and I'm thinking of the next thing I want to say, I'm like, well, let's keep going over that. To the point where, like, I stopped listening to what they're saying. I'm thinking of something else. So sometimes I'm just staring at people, and I'm like, I hope they don't ask me a question about what they've been talking about because I've been not paying attention.
No, it's
in the least bit.
No, it's the same with me. It's the same with me. I'm not thinking of anything when I'm just chilling, but like, I'll be listening to a podcast in my truck. And they'll say something, and I'm like, oh, that sounds funny. I wonder about this. Like, I wonder about that. And then I realize I haven't been listening to the podcast for the last 5 minutes, so I got to roll it all the way back.
Well, that's why I don't read like audiobooks either. It's because they continue on. So I've mentioned I don't read because I don't have like I have aphantasia or whatever. No images in my head, so reading's not that fun for me. And I don't listen to audiobooks because I drone out when people talk about stuff. If it sounds like someone is reciting poetry or reciting lyrics, I immediately tune out.
Okay.
So don't share your poems with me. I'm sure they're great. I'm in one ear, out the other.
Poems are pretty boring.
No, some of them are neat.
Some of them, but a lot of them are pretty pedantic and terrible.
Well, it's my favorite poem. Doesn't make any sense. 'Twas brillig in the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy where the borrow groves and the mumraths half outgrabe.
Is that a Jabberwocky?
It is the Jabberwocky. I used to know the first stanza, but I think I know the first line, 2 lines.
Let me do my part of Jabberwocky now. Snicker snack.
Yeah.
Because that just sounds really good.
Yeah.
It sounds tasty.
Mm-hmm. And then I still remember it was like a quest description from Diablo that was kind of like a poem or something like that. That's still rattling around in my head.
Say it.
I can see what you see not, vision milky, then eyes rot. When you turn, they will be gone, whispering their hidden song. Then you see what cannot be. Shadows lurk, or figures move where shadows will move where light should be. Out of darkness, out of mind, cast down into the halls of the blind.
Interesting.
That was the Diablo 1 quest. Halls of the blind.
Nope. Not there at all.
Yeah. Yeah, shadows move where light should be. That's the line. It's still there. It's still there.
You could have just like piped out a couple of words of it and I'd been like, nice. So, no, I don't remember any poetry. None of it's there. A lot of song lyrics. A lot of people would say that's poetry.
That's what it is. Which is why when people are talking lyrics at me, I tune out just as if they're talking poetry at me.
Or if they're singing it at you.
I'm listening to the melody or whatever, not necessarily the lyrics.
Okay.
Because, I listen to a lot of foreign stuff.
Yes.
So I don't give a shit what they're saying. It's all about how they're saying it. And I don't think people give a shit about what they're saying. Otherwise, Pumped Up Kicks wouldn't be a song. Every Breath You Take wouldn't be a song.
Okay, I'm gonna challenge you on this. I'm gonna say a part and I want to see if you can finish it. Say what you wanna say.
Yeah, I don't know.
You played that on your iPad every weekend for like 4 years until the words fall out. Honestly.
Okay, I want to see what. Oh.
I want to see you be great. It played on your.
Be Brave.
Was it Brave?
It's Brave.
Oh, well.
That one's Brave by Sarah Bareilles.
Well, shows what I know. I just know that it played all the time.
Oh.
And I always made the comment that you have it down just enough where it's like.
So it's when we play tabletop, I used to play like would be more interested in doing like we're in a forest, play forest sounds, but that shit puts Shane to sleep. So
that's a good point.
So I keep music and stuff. I either do ambient like game soundtracks. Like I pull up Skyrim a lot just because it's pleasant noise filler, and I need like back to the topic that's still not R.O.D, but still of things constantly going in your head. Music gets stuck in my head a lot. And if I'm listening to music, I'm not singing music in my head. Therefore, having music on in the background makes me more likely to focus. Because now I'm not thinking of that one song that I was like, when I was in the car on the way over, that song didn't finish. So now it's finishing constantly in my head. But if I sit down and play like music, I'm listening to that, not the song in my head.
Okay. I didn't know that about you.
Why would I mention it, I guess?
I mean, it's an interesting tidbit about you.
So you watched Read or Die.
Yes.
3 episodes. It's a movie. And I'm calling it a movie. It's no AV. It's a movie.
Yeah.
Lance, what did you think of it? What would you give it on a scale from 0 to 10?
Well, I would give R.O.D the TV. I would give this let's say a crisp 5.
Oh, see, I thought you might have actually liked that one.
Okay.
Because I think it's got a lot of neat visuals and stuff in it. That's a lot of fun.
We'll cover it.
Okay.
So, Nick, 0 to 10, what would you give R.O.D?
This one's an 8 for me.
It's an 8? Bow. Bow. All right. Good. I'm back, baby. For
at least one video.
One video.
Wait until next week.
That's ominous.
Well, next week is True Grit.
Ooh. Yeah. I'm going to be all by myself on that one. Nick's going to be walking in. I hated it. Just walk off. I'll be like, it's a cowboy movie.
All right. So, spoilers. I mean, if you can track down the movie, would you recommend this as something to track down if you're into animation?
It's very entertaining, but I have reasons we'll go into.
Sure. So I mean, I recommend this one as well. I don't watch a lot of modern anime, mainly because I must watch it in the Japanese. And since I'm always playing a game or like doing something like on my iPad, I can't watch the show and read the subtitles and do the thing I'm doing. I have to focus on anime, and that's too much of a commitment. So I don't watch a lot of anime anymore.
I did not watch this in Japanese. I watched it in English.
I watch it in Japanese.
Okay, I should have watched it in Japanese.
And it's funny listening to them say "zapepa."
Zapepa?
Zapepa.
I probably should have listened to it in Japanese.
No, I want maybe that changes things because
it does, because I think American voice acting in anime usually is fucking terrible. But I mean, it's understandable because we're going into spoiler territory.
So spoilers. Track it down if you can. I think it's worth it.
Yeah, no, definitely. If you can find it on like Crunchyroll or something like that, it's definitely worth a watch. The movie. The 3 episodes that constitute the movie.
Yes.
I cannot say...
You cannot talk about
I can't talk for the show itself.
And it's been a long time since I've seen the show. Before I let you borrow it, I watched the first, disc, which is 4 episodes. And it's okay, but I still like the movie better.
Okay. All right. So, I hated the voice acting in this.
Oh, okay.
But like I said, I'm not really... That didn't have anything to do with my score.
Okay.
Because I knew that most likely there was going to be a dubbed and subbed version of it. But I elected to watch the dubbed version of it only for the fact of it was really late at night one night. I wanted to get it done. It was the night before we were supposed to do it last week before I fucking bitched out on you and decided I wanted to sleep instead. The animation was good. The character choices were just confusing.
Okay.
I liked her, but it's what does the book have anything to do with anything? Why do they keep taking her fucking book?
In the margins of the book was the symphony at the end of the... So I'm going to say a word that YouTube doesn't like, the Suicide Symphony.
Okay.
So in the margins is that symphony. They needed that to give to the clone Beethoven for him to play it and murder the world.
Okay. So that makes more sense.
And then she wants the book because she's a bibliophile.
I mean, she bought the fucking book. Just keep her book. But they kept stealing it from her. And then all of a sudden there was a mission around that. And it was kind of okay, you're invested because it's your book. But
Yeah, people wanted the book because of what was written in it, not scribbled in it, not what was printed in the book, the book proper.
Okay, that makes more sense then. I didn't like... the chick. I didn't like the bad guy.
Nancy?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's adorable, but I hated how wishy-washy her character was in the beginning. I wasn't... My favorite character was the blonde guy.
Oh, okay. Joker? Or the one that went on the missions with him?
The one that goes on the missions with him.
I don't remember his name at this
I
point.
can't remember his name either, but I liked him just because he gave me a very Danny Glover feel to him. 5 days from retirement.
He was the normal guy in the team of weirdness, I guess, is kind of the way to put it. He's just I'm just here on a mission.
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of dug his character. The animation was good, but it's an old series. But the converse thing about that is I like the older stuff better than the newer stuff.
Older than this, or you mean? Because this was 20... Oh, I had it pulled up. And the guy's name is Drake. I looked it up. Drake. 2001. So this is 22 years old at this point in time.
I mean, it's... So, yeah, this...
So you're talking... When you say I like the older stuff, are you talking 80s?
Yeah, 80s, 90s, Ursa Yatsura, Dirty Pair, Captain Harlock. But I'm not crazy about Harlock. I just like the style.
So does that mean you like, what's it, Galaxy Express 39?
I like Galaxy Express, but I think it's boring. That's the anime I put on when I'm ready to go to bed.
Okay.
Because it's just very slow.
I've not seen it since it was on, the Saturday morning anime or whatever they used to do back in the day. I watched it, the once, and the only thing I remember about it is the ending theme song. I was like, oh, this song is fucking catchy. I think it's on my playlist. I added it, after our last anime conversation. I think we brought up Galaxy Express 39. I don't know if it was on film or just us talking, but I went home and can I find that song? And I did. And I'm like, yeah, here it is.
Yeah, it's good. Like Battleship Yamato, like that's the kind of anime I was into back in the day. Dominion Tank Police, and then I found one the other day that I've referred you to, but I don't know if you've watched it yet.
Appleseed?
No, Dororo.
Oh yeah, that one's newer.
It's newer, but it's like it's got like an old school kind of a feel, like an old Toei animation feel to it.
Okay.
At least Aurora does, the way they draw her. Oh shit, that's a spoiler. But it has a very old school anime feel to it. It's like I think there's an old anime called Kimba the Lion or something like that. I think it's the same artist, the same studio that does that.
Yeah, Kim of the Line was same studio that did Astro Boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when you look at the bad guys in that show, they have a very old school like anime feel to them, and I really appreciated that. And then like the show was just great. But I can't ask you to watch that because it's episodes. It's not like a movie, and that's mainly what we're doing here.
Yeah.
For me to sit down and be like, I want you to watch Dororo, so we could do a Have You Seen? That's a 20 episode commitment.
See, I think something I've talked about doing in the future is more of like. Maybe it's this series, maybe it's a different series, but where we watch like an hour and a half of a show, and then decide would you keep watching.
I like that.
And then, but still be hey, I want you to check this out. Watch like the first episode or two, depending on like if it's a 20-minute show, watch like 3 episodes. If it's an hour show, watch the first episode, sort of thing.
I'd be down for that.
Sure.
Well, let's turn around here a little bit. We'll say watch the first 20 minutes of it, and then like when we sit down, be like, I watched the whole thing, or I shut it off right at 20 minutes, you know, or something like that. Hey, get down in the comments and tell us how you want us to do that particular one. But yeah, I mean, I dug it. It's just I was feeling it. By the 3rd episode, I thought the bad guy was fairly uninteresting.
Yeah, the main bad guy wasn't super interesting. I liked more of the either minor bad guys, but I really liked the paper.
Yeah, no, she was dope.
Yeah,
she was very dope.
And I liked all the inventive stuff they had her doing with paper. Kind of like when she was on like the man's flying machine, and like he pulls out a gun and like shoots it like point blank, and she's holding like a little business card or like a little sheet of paper, and it blocks the bullet, and then it like flutters away. So you see that it's strong enough to stop bullets, but it still drifts away like paper. I'm like, that's fucking dope.
Yeah, no, it's so in the beginning of the episode when she woke up and she's heading into work and she's buying all the books, I was like, she really likes to read, but she has to keep a shit ton of paper on her so she can be like, pip, 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 you know. So like, it's got to be like a devastating fucking power for her because she's destroying books. But I noticed that she carries like a lot of business cards.
She essentially has like just paper in her pocket. That's just blank paper.
Right. Okay.
And you could see like, I think she only have to destroy 1 book in this one, and which was the book in the final episode when she had to like use that 1 book that she wanted to read as a parachute.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because she had to save her buddy too, right? Or no, her buddy went into space.
Yeah, she was going to, but going to try to save her, but she let her go.
Yeah, yes. I think so. I'm trying to remember. It was like I'm trying to remember what the book was called, and it's one that I know because I've heard it quite a few times. The title, but neither here nor there.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that was slow to me on the episode is I didn't like the whole. It was a clone. Da-na-na. Like I just.
Yeah. Well, it's all of the famous people were clones. Because, you know, Miss Deep was Matahari.
See, I didn't know that.
No. Hence why she was kind of like the turncoat or whatever. She was the famous spy Matahari, a clone of. And all these people, like, I don't remember everyone, but like Beethoven was a clone. The main guy, Genji, he was a clone. The little bug man and all those people were clones of famous people.
Interesting. Okay. I got the whole clone bit, but like I didn't like the turn of she's a clone too.
Yeah.
And then you have the bad clone, and then you have the good clone.
Yeah.
And her power was weird. Like it was straight up Kitty Pryde kind of powers, but like you know.
I think it takes effort you have to be actively phasing through stuff.
Yeah.
And it seems like it tires her out or whatever.
Yeah. I liked her a lot, but she wasn't. I didn't like how she was like one episode she's very cold, and the next episode she's like, "Oh, you're my friend," and the next episode she's like, "No."
Well, I think that's meant. I wonder how many of those are different people, because there's 2 of her. Maybe the more friendly one is the one that's kind of getting close to her, and then she gets swapped in for the spy version, evil version of her.
That's interesting. I didn't think about that. I might have to go to rewatch. But yeah, like I dug the animation.
Mm-hmm.
The storyline felt like it was kind of dragging a little bit to me. The fights were great.
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons I like it the most is the fights.
Yeah, and that's why it felt like right in the middle for me. Like the storyline was decent, but the whole part where like she's like, "Oh, you're my friend," and they're braiding each other's hair and shit like that. I was just kind of like, okay, you know. I did like the way they resolved the show. Is they didn't give you an easy out on that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ruin it, but I did like that they pulled the punch, but they still hit you. The way they resolved it, if you remember what I'm talking about.
I think so. Yeah.
Sitting outside in the park with, yeah. And I kind of like that. You know, they didn't try and like give it a sugar coating or anything like that. But I mean, all in all, it was right in the middle. Would I watch it again? Probably, because I probably would like to watch it.
Maybe in Japanese this time.
Yeah, because the Japanese voice acting is always going to be better. I'm not ever sure if like the American voice actors for this stuff ever are watching what they're doing, but it's like their voices to me never really match the feel.
I don't know how much because this was back in 2001. I know nowadays it's a much bigger production, and it's also much easier for a company to go through and modify mouth flaps if they really have to. Like back then, they weren't doing that. They were writing dialogue to match pre-existing mouth flaps and trying to get it as close to the meaning while also matching the mouth flaps, and it's this whole thing. And I mean, I prefer the Japanese. I don't want to say the Japanese is better because I don't understand Japanese. Maybe they're awful actors and I just can't tell. But I still prefer to listen to it the way that I guess the creators intended. And that goes for like everything. When I played Genshin Impact, it was originally in Chinese. And a lot of people listened, like it had a Japanese language. A lot of people listened to the Japanese because that's how they would listen to anime. I listened to the Chinese one because that's how they meant for it. That's how they meant for the characters to sound. So I watched it in the original language if I can. There's been a couple times in which I've been unable to. Like Devilman, I think like the DVD only had the English on it.
I would say, so when I first started watching anime is when I was a little person. When I was like 12. And it was VHS tapes sent from pen pals overseas on VHS tapes. And I used to go sit in a stranger's house in West Ashley and like watch them over at their house. Nothing was translated. Nothing was subtitled. It was all in Japanese. But it's like, if it's a good show, you don't really need the translations. Like the actions on the screen kind of tell you the story of what's happening. Now watching that in Japanese with what was going on in that show, it would be confusing as fuck. Yeah. But
yes, but why is Bugman big?
Yeah, and then he looks different. There's a little Bugman girl, and there's a big Bugman, and when you kill him, they split in half. So I'm guessing that they're like shedding their skin and becoming
it's when
Bugman 2 Electric Boogaloo.
It's when the old one died. He was a chrysalis, and he came back as a young version of himself. Okay. And then every time he would move on to the next stage of life because his power was Bug.
Okay, that makes sense. But like Electro Guy, I was just kind of like, yeah. You know, like a lot of the bad guys were just okay.
Yeah, and they definitely roast on the U.S. in this one. At least the U.S. president.
And that was the other thing I wanted to say is that guy was obviously supposed to be like, I'm guessing George W. Bush.
2001, maybe.
Yeah, it was George W.
Or it was just, I guess warmonger, violent president or whatever.
Yeah, but like
that was kept a coward,
pissing himself, and he would never stop crying, and
and when everyone else was like, "Hey, he's the one reaching for the no, I'm going to nuke him," and everyone had to fight him off or whatever.
Let's fire the nukes, fire all of them. Yeah, like that was kind of like okay, whatever.
Yes, I mean,
it was fine, but I
was saying it's funny.
But that just gives you a little insight into what the Japanese thought of us at that time. But yeah, it was good. I'd probably give it another watch in Japanese, but other than that, maybe not.
Knowing that a TV series exists, does it make you curious to watch whatever the TV series is about?
A little. Like I liked her. I liked the main character.
Unfortunately, she's not in the show. It's about like her friend that is. So I think they've got some character carryover. It's been last time I watched this series was in 2001, or 2002 or something along those lines. But I watched the first few episodes. What I think is interesting is the show has paper masters, 3 sisters who all like are good at a different aspect of like that paper magic sort of thing. One is good at like summoning creations. One like makes bows and arrows out of the paper, and one of them makes like it's like a little ninja and makes like little knives and like throwing stuff with the paper.
Interesting. I mean, it was definitely a neat concept. Like,
I think the paper magic is what I enjoy about it the most.
And I liked how she seems like she's somewhat innocent, but like whenever the spur of the moment stuff comes up, she's like snapping shields up in the way and stuff like that. Like
then the way she murdered the electric man. She like threw the thing up and dropped all the coolant on him, and he like electrocuted himself down to like rubble.
Yeah, and I liked how she produced the lockpick.
No, yeah.
You know, like I thought all that stuff was interesting. But I think the thing that's just kind of, she's a stone cold killer when she needs to be, but she's like, I'm so cute and I love to read books and I'm gonna murder you and like that part was, you know, like that's very old school anime. But yeah, I mean it was good. It wasn't what I expected, but it was good.
What do you expect with a name like Read or Die?
Something like Death Note.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, when you were like, I'm gonna have you watch Read or Die, I was like, is it another one where they write in books and people fucking get murdered or something? But
just a nice little action anime. I could see them doing this as I don't like remakes, but I could see them doing like a movie version of this and have it be visually interesting.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's anything.
Yeah, when we have a whole series dedicated to hesitancy about remakes, and remakes can be better.
I mean, I liked Cowboy Bebop.
I didn't watch it.
I thought it was good. I thought it was decent, and I thought that the people who did the show gave it enough credence and tried to take from the anime as much as they could. But that show also got pretty fucking convoluted in the storyline too.
Well, I think Cowboy Bebop did, if I remember right. It's been a long time since I've watched that one. I
mean, yeah, but people got pissed because basically at the end of the first season there was like a dun dun dun.
Yeah, they didn't finish it.
Yeah, and I don't think it went in the direction of it that it did in the anime. So people just out and out rejected it. My biggest surprise with it is James D likes that show very, very much. He loves the anime. It's like one of his favorites. But in the show, he was just kind of like, it's okay, you know. And as the show went on, he was like, okay, this episode was a little better. This episode was a little better. But I think near the end, he was just like,
yeah,
you know. But
I'm very hesitant about remakes, but I don't know. I think you could clean up, because I mean, Read or Die is already like an hour and 30 minutes. I think you could clean it up and make a fun little story out of it or something, maybe. Well, it's mainly I just want to see the paper magic.
Well, there's not a shit ton of people that know of this. I have a feeling this is a fairly niche one.
I don't know.
You think?
I don't know.
Say in the comments if you've heard of Read or Die.
Have you heard of either Read or Die, Read or Dream, R.O.D the TV? Have you heard of any of it?
Yeah, and just put down in the comments if you've heard of it. Don't Google it and lie and be like, oh, I look cool, but no.
I think it was one of the ones put up by ADV? No, Aniplex. And is it Geneon? Genon. It wasn't, because back in like 2001 or whatever, like ADV was kind of like the big anime like producer. So I was buying a lot of stuff just because I'm like, well, I like the last thing that they translated, so I'll check out this one. Which is how I have Bubblegum Crisis Tokyo 2040. I've never seen the original Bubblegum Crash or whatever, but they put out Bubblegum Crisis Tokyo 2040 on like VHS tapes, and I'm like, let's check out this one. Back when you could go to Best Buy, buy your VHS tapes, and like they would have art on the side, so you would line them all up. It would make like one picture.
Yeah. Bubblegum Crisis was one of my favorite animes of all time back in the day. Fucking loved it. I had the biggest crush on Pris and Sylvie. Loved them. Plus the concept of battle armor and the bikes that can shape into like the extra pack and everything like that. Like they had the battle armor and they had the bikes, and then the bikes could transform into like extra battle armor.
I guess I don't remember if 2040 had the bikes turn into armor.
I didn't watch 2040. So there was Bubblegum Crisis, and then the follow-up was Bubblegum Crash.
Okay. So I thought Crisis was Crash, but I guess they're separate ones.
But the thing is that you can't find dependable copies of Bubblegum Crisis anymore, because I went back to watch it again because I fucking loved the series, but I can't find it. Like I've got in this house somewhere, I've got old school OVAs like DVDs of like the music of Bubblegum Crisis, and it's Pris's concerts, because I had the hugest crush on her back in the day. But yeah, it's the animation style of this is somewhat reminiscent to it. But yeah, it's. I thank you for having me watch this one.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that we were going to do a separate channel where we were going to talk about anime, but there's a lot of it out there that we could. I think we should. I think you did the right thing. I think feathering it into this series of Have You Seen is a good idea.
Sure. I mean, I think the Have Our Seen series is kind of us playing around and having fun, and kind of making each other watch something different.
Yeah. Well, it's hard. You and I have seen a lot of stuff.
I've not really seen all that much, but apparently what I watch is different.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have your taste. I have my taste. That's why I don't think there's only one video I think we've agreed to that we loved, and we both gave it an 11. So I mean, you're sometimes high, I'm sometimes low, and we kind of go back and forth. Occasionally we'll match up, but you know, we have different tastes, and I think that's what makes this series good.
Let us know if you disagree.
It's like, check the numbers, pal. You got 4 viewings on this video.
Yeah, unfortunately, maybe, but
one day we'll hit. One day I'm just going to pull out my dick on camera, and people will be like, "Hey, watch this," and we'll go viral.
Yeah, I don't think that's how that works on YouTube.
They won't take it off. I think a micro penis will actually get through the filters. So, who knows?
All right. I wonder if scores are. I wonder if IMDb scores are a thing.
Maybe. I haven't looked.
They do have an IMDb score. They're not going to have a
Metascore?
Yeah, they don't have a Metascore, and they're not going to have a Rotten Tomato score. But what do you think the IMDb people, of which there's like about 1,500 reviews?
And it's like a point number?
Yeah. What do you think the people of IMDb would give?
7.3.
7.4.
Ooh!
That's real close.
Damn.
That's real good. Which I would say that's probably about right for me.
To be fair, a lot of stuff on I've noticed on IMDb sits between 6.5 and like 9.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, the 7 point something is usually everything's wheelhouse on IMDb.
You've not looked at Blood Rain.
Oh no.
So to test your theory, everything falls between.
That's a whole different set of rules, Nick. Whole different set of rules.
What is Blood Rain?
3.2.
It's pretty good. It's 2.9.
Oh well, I gave Uwe Boll more credit than he needed.
36K reviews on that one. But I mean, if there's 1,500 reviews on Read or Die saying it's about a 7.4, I think that's I gave it a little more because I think I remember watching it and like the paper was like fucking dope. All the little shit she's doing, like when she's fighting the Buddhist guy, and he's like doing like his extendo staff, and she's just like blocking it with a paper, but it's fire. So every single thing is like she's holding up a piece of paper, but now she's holding up like a half a sheet of paper. Now she's just holding up like a scrap of paper and still like blocking all the impact with it. I think it's really cool.
It was neat, and that guy was totally Goku.
Oh yeah, he was
extending staff and the Nimbus Cloud, and yeah.
I like that he got his powers because he completed Buddhism.
Good for him.
And I think he was just a guy that was a Buddhist monk. But essentially, all of his powers were the Sun Wukong. He had the Nimbus Cloud. He had the extending staff. He could breathe fire.
You a flame.
Yeah. And I also really liked when the first thing she fought, like the little bug man. He like came out and he like grabbed the book or whatever, and she like opened up her thing full of paper. And then like when he stole the book and is trying to fly away, she just takes the ribbon and just like casually tosses it behind her, and it just sticks in the concrete.
Yeah.
And then she wraps it around the bug's leg or whatever. And then just like that little bit in the concrete, it's like steel.
Yeah, it had some really neat stuff.
And then when she's done, she just does like the finger thing and it cuts.
Yeah.
That's real cool.
She was a great character.
Yeah.
It's just she was just a little too cute for me. La di da. But yeah, it was good. It was good. I would definitely recommend it. It gets a crooked thumbs up.
Yeah. You think it's worth a watch, but maybe just once.
Yeah, I mean, just expose yourself to it, and
see what anime was like in 2001.
That's the good stuff. Go back and watch the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s anime, because that's where all the good stuff was.
I mostly watch anime in the early 2000s because that's when I had money.
Yeah, you had to buy fucking everything.
Well, back in the 90s and 80s or whatever, I was a kid. Yeah. I'm not going to this. Well, plus I'm not going to the store and buying anime in the 90s.
That's true.
It's like in the 2000s, it kind of like picked up. I could go to like a conventional store and like buy anime, and it was there and it was plentiful, and like something new would come out and you'd be like, oh, what the hell's this? You could even go to Blockbuster and you could be like, oh, an anime. I can rent an anime.
It was cool going to Best Buy back in the day and then just walking down the shelves and shelves and shelves of anime. But I still have most of my stuff on a hard drive that was burnt from the internet. Like I've got all 300 and some odd episodes of Ursuri Yatsura, Space Adventure, Cobra, Dirty Pair, and that was something I was actually going to ask you to watch. I watched this for you, so I was like, I'm going to have him watch Dirty Pair Affair of Nalandia. It's one of my favorite Dirty Pair movies, but like finding that would be next to impossible.
Yeah. That's why one reason why we're going to be limited to probably what we have on physical media.
It's going to be tough for me to refer a bunch of stuff to you then, because like new stuff, like I haven't watched any Naruto, or I haven't
Naruto yet.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of that. I'm not interested in like Bleach or One Piece.
I've not watched any of Attack on Titan.
Yeah, I'm just not into it. I mean, just just what little bit I've seen, it's not for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna find some stuff, and sadly, I'm gonna throw you a little bit of a curveball because I wanted you to watch anime, and I think this fits the criteria.
Come on.
Nick.
Yes.
Have you seen Transformers the movie?
I've never seen Transformers the movie, not Transformers the Michael Bay movie, because I have seen that one.
No, Transformers the 1986 movie.
Yeah,
the cartoon.
I've never watched that one. At least not that I recall.
You're gonna watch it now?
Oh, we're sweet. Prepare for my low score, buddy.
You might like it.
I might.
Who knows? Who knows? I still think it's a classic. I can still quote it from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie.
I'm probably going to enjoy the music at least.
That is probably a safe bet.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows? Just keep an open mind. No.
You got the touch.
You got the power. Don't fuck with Stan Bush. Stan Bush is a god. But yeah, sorry. I told you I wasn't going to do it to you. But
no, I told you to do it.
Okay. Well, I just didn't want to be sitting.
Because I'm never going to watch it otherwise.
That's fair.
Yep.
That's fair.
And that's what this series is about. Making our friends enjoy the thing we like the thing I love, damn it.
That's the whole basis of the internet right now.
Yeah. That's what parents are doing to their children like now, I think. Because you grew up loving something and now it's like the thing I love, god damn it. Mm-hmm. You're going to watch these new Star Wars movies so I can show you the old Star Wars movies that I think are good.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to do it to Jack.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, I've been trying to... He's almost 3 now, and I've been trying to show him some of the stuff that I like, and the kid's got bad taste. That's all I can say.
Hey, I've heard that he is enjoying Gargoyles, so I think he's got good taste.
Yep. He actually watched all 4 episodes of Gargoyles with me the other night.
That's right.
And he didn't say a word. He's like, dinos? And I put on Gargoyle, and he was just like... He knows Goliath's name.
Sweet.
So yeah, he was really enjoying it, and every time Lexington came on, I said yay, and then after a while he was like yay Lexington. So, but yeah,
gotcha.
I just want him like Avatar. I really want him to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. That show, I swear to God, I slept on it for so long, and then when I watched it, I was like, oh my God.
I don't know if it's a 3-year-old show. Maybe there's enough funny stuff going on in it,
but there's a lesson every episode.
Sure, but is it? I don't know.
I think it would be digestible by a 5-year-old. He needs a little bit more focus. Right now, he just likes things that move really fast and roar.
Yeah.
And
Gargoyle or Goliath's roaring all the time.
Oh yeah, and they're pretty colors, and they're always gliding around and shit, and but I think that's the thing. Like, I think I
think he'll need a little bit more time, and then I think Avatar's good.
Yeah, like Avatar, Jack. You're breaking your dad's heart. I want to watch it with you so bad.
It's just so sad because back when I worked at a Barnes & Noble in the DVD section, someone came up and was buying DVDs of Avatar, and they're like, this show's pretty good. I'm like, well, okay. It's on Nickelodeon, huh? It's probably going to pass then.
That was the same thing. That's the same place I was. Back in the day when it came out, my buddy Mike was like, dude, you need to check out Avatar. It's pretty good. And I was like, what's it on? He's like, Nickelodeon. I was like,
Yeah.
you know, salute your shorts and fucking, you know, like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I let it pass. And then he rounded on me again years later and said, did you watch Avatar? No. Oh, it's really good. And then the movie came out. And I went and saw the movie.
That was my first experience, too, was the movie.
Yeah. And, like, that was my first experience with it, too. And I don't remember who had watched the anime with us, but someone was like, that movie was fucking terrible. And I was like, it was okay.
Yeah.
You know, it had martial arts and, you know, it was neat. But if you asked me to recant anything that fucking happened in that movie right now, or you'd shoot me in the face, I'd have a fucking hole in my head.
Well, it's not hard because it's the show, but fast and worse. And one thing I remember about the movie that was different about the show is that firebenders couldn't create fire. They had to take it from like the braziers they had burning or like torches, which makes the firebenders not
Useless.
at all scary.
Yeah, useless. Well, I mean, it somewhat makes sense because waterbenders can't do anything unless they have water around. Firebenders wouldn't be able to do anything unless they had fire around.
I think isn't some of it she's pulling moisture out of the air? Because you can make like that sort of stuff because there's water in the air.
She learns that, but like she learns that later. But like she always carried around the canteen on her side, so when she needed water, she'd open the canteen and be like, shh, you know. But like, why is it the rule with waterbenders is you have to carry the canteen around, but firebenders can just be like, pip, 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 pip.
Because they're making heat.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Sure.
Because airbenders can do it all the time too.
Well, I mean,
I think that's why they took them out first. They don't. They're elements everywhere.
Yeah, but I mean, their powers are so awesome. Yeah. Like, I want an air scooter so bad. Those things are so fucking cool, man. Like, Aang is like, he's just so good. And Katara, she's great. Sokka, great. But we're not reviewing Avatar.
Yeah, I was going to say, shall we wrap up?
Yeah. I want to talk about Avatar.
we will at some point in time. There is rumor that after Gargoyles, maybe Avatar would be up. But that's going to kind of depend on how much Gargoyles does for the channel.
What I'd like to see is when the Netflix version of Avatar comes out. From what I've heard, they're going to try and be somewhat true to the show. And maybe we can do a side-by-side episode comparison, if that's the route they're going.
I guess we'll find out. All right, in the interim, join us next month for The Transformers, the movie, as it was on IMDb. And join us next week for True Grit. Or True Grit. Which True Grit's better?
One shall stand, one shall fall.
One shall continue to stand. One shall stand, one shall also stand.
Why throw away your life so recklessly? That's that question you should ask yourself, Megatron. But this isn't a Transformers review. See you, everyone.
Bye.